Leveraging multiple choice. So remember in our previous video, we talked about closed-ended study and how it's based on memorization and it doesn't really work very well. And all of that is true, but those types of questions are still out there. So let's look at a learning strategy that'll help us get the most out of them. So even though they put limits on us, we can still try to approach them in a different sort of way than the traditional approach and get a lot more out of them. So we're going to basically turn these closed-ended questions into open-ended study opportunities. This will allow us to study concepts, engage, self-evaluate, and get that solid sense of preparedness that we're looking for. Here's an example. You see the question on the right. It says, which of the following is an acellular microbe lacking a nucleus? And you have 4 options: protozoan, bacterium, helminth, virus. The question is marked as virus is the correct answer. Okay, so the first thing we want to do in this example is work the question. So let's look at what the question is asking us. It's asking about acellular microbes. That's the topic of that question. So what are some questions that we can form based on that topic? What are the types of acellular microbes? So are there multiple ones? So what all would be included in this group? We've been given 4 options, but there could be more. So what are all the types of acellular microbes? Now, it also says acellular. So we have to assume that there are likely cellular microbes. So what are the types of cellular microbes? Then we need to list all of those. It also mentions lacking a nucleus. Okay, so which microbes lack a nucleus? Which microbes have a nucleus? So these are 2 more questions that we can get from this one single, very small, very narrow, focused multiple choice question. We basically just open it up. Next, we're going to look at the answer choices. Start working the answer choices. Okay, so look at those options: protozoan, bacterium, helminth, virus. Okay, what is a protozoan? Are they acellular? Do they have a nucleus? What are some of the key characteristics? Okay, also, what about bacteria? Are they acellular? Do they have a nucleus? What are some key characteristics of bacteria? Keep going. What are helminths? Are they cellular or acellular? Do they have a nucleus? What are their key characteristics? And then finally, looking at the last option there, viruses. We'll look at it in the same way. Keep asking the same types of questions. So when we get done, working this question out, we're going to have a whole, page worth of notes looking at cellular, acellular microbes, nucleus, key characteristics of protozoa, bacteria, helminth, viruses, all of that written down, all inspired by one just tiny, narrow, multiple choice question. Next question. The concept of abiogenesis was finally disproven by, work the question. What's abiogenesis? Who disproved it? Okay, so we're going to need to know answers to those questions. Now let's work the answers. The answer options are Pasteur's use of swan neck flasks, the use of aseptic techniques in the operating room, the investigation of the human microbiome, Leeuwenhoek's use of microscopes. So what questions can we or do we have about these answer options? Okay, 1. What do you know about Pasteur and the swan neck flasks? Write that out. Who used aseptic techniques in the operating room? If it wasn't Pasteur, which scientist was it? There may be additional questions about him on the exam, so let's prepare for those options as well. Is someone specifically known for investigating the human microbiome? Or is this a distractor? Check our notes, see if we can find the name of that person. Next, What do you know about Leeuwenhoek using microscopes? Was Leeuwenhoek one of the scientists that we talk about? Is he mentioned in the books? What do we need to know about him? So this is how we can look at the answer options and start to work and find out what other information do we need to know for the exam. Because the question may not be about Pasteur. It may be about one of the other scientists who have valuable contributions in microbiology. So when we use this leveraging multiple choice strategy, multiple choice questions don't have to be so limiting. They don't have to be so narrow. They can be excellent jumping off points. We can push the boundaries. We can work the questions. We can work the answers. And keep in mind, there's no hard and fast rules for how you use this method. It may be that you look at a question and work it a different way than someone else. It's really just up to how things flow for you. Personalize the process. Make it your own. As long as you're spending time with the material, you're on a winning streak.